Hey class, welcome to a spooky edition of our lecture for today. Where I eat my Halloween candy and yell at you. Which is what we'd be doing if we were in class together, but we're not. So I have to yell at you over the internet. This one's going to be me saying what's wrong with your essay so far. Some of you gotten them back. Trusty marker. So what? Some of you are starting to get the hang of how to distinguish between articles. So I'm reading some of you, and some of you are saying Hartman is very interested in the personal experience of Esther Brown because for her, history is human experience and the silencing of human experience. So her methodology shows that. Actually, most of you didn't say anything quite that good, but close to it. Whereas Coates is interested in broad class-based structures, so his historical analysis is less interested in personal experience and more interested in class relations. So, if you could probably get a B or B plus essay doing like a really, probably not B plus, maybe B plus, doing like a really good comparison like that. And probably a B doing just a mediocre. But you're never going to get any higher than that without a so what factor. Why is it important? Yes, they have similarities. Yes, they have differences. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Tell me why. I need to know why it's significant. So for instance, in paper analytic essay 2, you could say, fundamentally, you're so what? Why does it matter that they're different? / the same. It's significant because fundamentally what we have is an argument about what history is itself. They're arguing about the material of history. Right? So what you're doing is you're saying not only are they different, but that their differences represent a fundamental argument about, right? So here's Coates, Hartman. This does one thing, this does one thing. Your so what is, it's a fundamental debate about what history is. Or, this is going to be useful for essay 3, a fundamental debate about what capitalism is. Capitalism for Coates is a class-based system in which a massive working class is kept subjugated by a small elite class by playing these working classes off each other. Capitalism for Hartman is a labor system as well, but a labor system in which menial labors are kept in forms of subjectation, of oppression via state institutions, law, like vagrancy laws. And that anyone not participating in capitalism is deemed a criminal. So the criminalization of forms of being that don't conform, right? So that would be two different, so at the end, their interests and their methodologies will come down on different ways of thinking about capitalism. That would be a so what. Your so what is, what are we going to do with these differences? If your essay never rises above that, you're going to still be stuck in compare and contrast mode. Now, here's what I'll say the vast majority of you did do. You said, Hartman and Coates use different methodologies, but Hartman and Coates both talk about history. Hartman and Coates are different, but they're also the same. No. That's, what are you going to do with that? That's not an argument. They're different, but they're also the same. And history is important because it tells us things about the past, yes. Or Hartman and Coates, you have a historical perspective because they want to talk about history. Yeah, that presumably would be why they would do that. But that's not an argument because that's obvious just from reading it. Why would you have a historical perspective if you weren't interested in history? You got to go farther than that. What does a historical perspective offer for Coates? It offers a way of looking at history as a series of class conflicts. For Hartman, I said series.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please repeat it?
Hey Siri, what's class conflict?
Class conflict, also referred to as class struggle and class warfare, is the political tension and economic antagonism that exists in society, consequent to socioeconomic competition among the social classes or between rich.
All right. Jesus, my phone's getting all Marxist off. So, by the way, Siri is not a reputable source. What the fuck was I talking about? Right. So, not just saying history is important for Coates, but why it's important and how it's important. Why and how. So what's great? Why and how is good too. If you're asking yourself why all the time and writing it out, you're gonna get somewhere. If you're writing how do they understand history? Why do they understand it this way? Ask yourself questions. Ask your essay questions and then write it out. An argument is an element of risk. You actually need to argue it. If you just say history is important, there's nothing to argue because it's so obvious. If it's so obvious, there's no point in writing an essay about it. We need to at least pretend that these essays have a reason to exist other than me grading it, right? An essay, to a certain extent, should be a justification of itself. There will be times, in fact, there absolutely will be many times where you have to write things, not just because some professor is waiting over you with a giant red marker, ready to strike you down with an F or an A or whatever, but because the thing you're writing needs to be valuable. So might as well practice it now. And I guarantee you, the more interesting your essay is, the better grade you're going to get. So we'll repeat that. Here's a free hack for my class. The more interesting your essay, the better grade you're going to get. If you're bored as shit writing your essay, I'm going to probably be bored as shit reading it. The one author for one paragraph thing isn't working. I gave you guys some leniency on that, but not for the next paper. For the next paper, as you're going to read in the assignment, you're going to have to quote 3 different authors in at least 3 paragraphs, and no less than 2 authors in every paragraph. So you can be selective about which paragraphs you choose 3, but you're never doing less than 2. Or else big angry red marker is coming down. F. This is where we're at now. So what? The other thing I'm noticing is especially when your argument's very vague, the uses of quotations have at times been pretty bad. Because you'll just pick any random quotation out of the text. Donald Trump said grab him by the pussy. You say, well, this shows that racism is a problem in America. I mean, tangentially, I suppose. I mean, it shows a lot of things. But you tell me that's the best quote you can find? First of all, if you're finding quotes proving racism is a problem in America, you're starting too vague. We're going to just take that as a deadline. Yes, racism is a problem in America. So you don't need to prove that. What you might want to prove is Coates sees American history as an unending series of class conflicts. You're going to have to find a very specific quote to back that up. You can't just find a quote about Donald Trump saying some dumb shit. Right? You got to find a quote about class conflict in history, or else it'd be just weird to use some other random quote. So your quotes need to be good. This is the reason I sort of harped on this quote thing. Oh wait, and it's supposed to be a password here. Okay. Email me the word Babalucci. I don't care how you spell it. So that's for this one. Babalucci. That's the secret password for this essay, for this lecture. And if you email me the secret password, just like the last one, for all the lectures, extra point on your essay. Maybe I'll make it a quiz. That's even better. Okay, I literally just saw the idea come in my head. What's the secret password? And so for essay 1, it's Babalucci. For lecture 1. This is lecture 1 about paragraphs, secret word, Babalucci. Okay. Now, the reason I'm a little bit whatever on the quotes is because I think you'll get good quotes when you get a good argument. I think you choosing shitty quotes is just a symptom of you not having an argument. I think so many of the problems I'm talking about go away. Crappy structure, paragraphs that are 4 pages long, all that I see going away once you start realizing what you're trying to argue. So, your so what factor. Your weekly assignment is actually going to be to tell me what you think your so what factor is. So along with sending in your rough draft, you're going to send me in a paragraph or so explaining what you think your so what factor is. Explaining what a so what factor is, and then what you think your so what factor is. And I guarantee you that paragraph is going to be more interesting than your intro. And so what you're going to do, probably, is you're going to end up making that paragraph your introduction. 9 times out of 10, I'm probably just going to say, copy paste this thing into your intro and write an essay around it. Okay, that's enough for this one.